Hi everyone, here are your notes on section 5.5, which is getting us into dividing polynomials. So the first part of chapter 5 that we got into was adding, subtracting, and multiplying polynomials. Now we're going to get into two different methods on how to divide polynomials. Today we're going to focus on long division, and then tomorrow's lesson is going to be all about synthetic division. So hopefully you guys remember doing your long division, and we went through that in the beginning of class today. So now let's get it into when we have polynomials. So divide a polynomial by a monomial. It's probably going to be the easiest type of division problem that you're going to have. So here we have a quadratic trinomial of 15x squared minus 12x plus 6, and we're going to divide it by 3. So all we're going to do is we're going to take that 3 and we're going to divide it into each of those terms up top. So 15x squared, we're going to take and divide by 3, bring down your minus. 12x, we're going to divide by 3, and then 6, we're going to divide by 3. So we're just going to separate those into 3 different fractions and then simplify. So 15x squareds divided by 3 would be 5x squareds. 12x divided by 3 would be 4, so minus 4x, and 6 divided by 3 is 2. Okay, so division of a polynomial by a monomial. Let's go ahead and step up our game a little bit and make it a bit more complex by putting some actual variables in the monomial in the divisor. So again, we're going to use the same process of 5m to the third all over 5m squared minus 9m squared all over 5m squared plus 10m all over 5m squared. So now let's simplify. 5 divided by 5 right here would go to 1 and cancel out. If we look at my m to the third divided by m to the second, remember we subtract those exponents. So I would just be left with m in that first fraction. In the second one, your m squareds would cancel out, and you would be left with 9/5, so 9/5. And for the last one, if you look at your m's, you would be left with 1m in the denominator, and 10 divided by 5 is 2. So m minus 9/5 plus 2 all over m. And you can just leave it like that. Don't move that m up in the last fraction right here to make it a -1. Just leave it in the denominator. Okay, so now let's keep on going with a monomial. So here we just have variables and exponents. So 8xy squared minus 9x squared y plus 6x squared y squared, and we're dividing everything by x squared y squared. So 8xy squared divided by x squared y squared minus 9x squared y all over x squared y squared plus 6x squared y squared all over x squared y squared. So canceling things out. My 8 doesn't have anything to cancel with, so it stays. Look at your x's. I have a 1x on the top, 2 on the bottom, which would leave me with 1 on the bottom. My y's go away. So that first fraction would reduce to 8 over x. Second fraction, 9 doesn't have anything to divide out with. Your x's would cancel out, and you would be left with 1y in the denominator. And then for the last one, 6 doesn't cancel out, and everything else would cancel, right? So we're just left with 6. So 8 over x minus 9 over y plus 6 would be our final answer. Alrighty, so now let's divide a polynomial by another polynomial. So this is where we're going to start doing some long division. So if you guys remember, for long division, we put the divisor, which is the number in the denominator, on the outside of the long division bar, and we put what's in the numerator underneath, so 2m squared plus m minus 10. Okay, so pay very close attention. I'm going to try to go slowly through this. But the first thing that we need to focus on is just this m right there and this 2m squared right there. So what do I need to multiply m by? What do I need to multiply m by to get to 2m squared is the question. Right? So what do I need to multiply m by to get to 2m squared? Well, m times 2m, does everybody see how that would be 2m squared? Because that's our process for long division. So let me get rid of all this highlighted stuff. So I'm going to put a 2m up here. And then I'm going to multiply my 2m times m and write that product down here. So that's going to get me 2m squared. Then I'm going to multiply my 2m times my negative 2 and write that product directly behind. So that gets me negative 4m. Now, remember with long division, when we did it with just numbers, we are subtracting. This is a big subtraction problem. So I'm subtracting 2m squared minus 2m squared to get to 0m squareds. But this is where the mistake is going to occur, right here. We are subtracting m minus a negative 4. A lot of you guys are going to put negative 3 for your answer here, and it's not negative 3. It's positive 5. So how do I remember to do that? Change your signs. So minus, change. Maybe that would make it more helpful. So that becomes a 5m because m minus a negative 4 is positive 5m. Then our next move is to bring down my next term, which is a negative 10. Now we're going to focus again on this m, but now we're going to focus on this 5m. What do I need to multiply m by to get to 5m? 5. So I'm going to put 5 up here at the top, positive 5, and multiply through. So 5m times m, or 5 times m gets me 5m. Write my answer down there. Here are my arrows, so 5m. Take 5 times negative 2, write my answer down here. Negative 10. Remember, this is a big subtraction problem, so change, change. Everything cancels out, which means I have a remainder of 0. So my final answer is going to be 2m plus 5. Okay, long division. We're going to do a few more of these. Okay, so here is our next one. We have x minus 3 in the divisor, so I'm going to put that on the outside, and I'm going to put 3x squared, or 3x to the third. Oops, notice how I have no x squared term right here. I need to fill in a space filler whenever we're missing a degree so that everything will match up. So I'm going to put a 0x squared minus 2x plus 5. So now notice what's underneath the divisible long division symbol. I'm sure it has a fancy name. I have a 3 represented, I have a 2 represented, I have a 1 represented, and I have a 5 represented. So 3, I have a 2, I have a linear, and I have a constant, right? So everything now is represented, even though I have a 0 there. So now, using our long division process, what do I need to multiply x by to get to 3x to the third? I need to multiply it by a 3, and I need to multiply the x by x squared. So multiply through, write my product here, gets me 3x to the third, multiply through, put my product here, gets me negative 9x squared. If I did not have that 0 there, then it would directly be underneath the negative 2x, and I don't have like terms there, so I wouldn't be able to combine them. So that's why we need that space filler. Remember, this is a big subtraction problem, so subtraction is the same as adding the opposite, so make the opposites. So 3x to the thirds go away, which is what we wanted. And then here I have 9x squared. Bring down your minus 2x. Now what do I need to multiply x by to get to 9x squared? 9x. I'm going to put a plus 9x here. Distribute through, or not distribute through, multiply through. So 9x times x, write my product here. 9x squared. 9x times negative 3, write my product here. Negative 27x. This is a big subtraction problem, so just change the signs of everything in the second. Gets me 25x. Bring down my plus 5. So now what do I need to multiply x by to get to 25x? 25, so plus 25. Multiply through, 25 times x, write my product here. Gets me 25x. 25 times negative 3, write my product here. Is negative 75. Remember, one big subtraction, so change your signs. Gets me a remainder of 80. So now if you guys remember, back in middle school, like we talked about in the beginning of class today, I would just put R80. Okay, but we're stepping up our game because we're smarter than that. So I'm going to write out my quotient, and then I'm going to put my remainder as a fraction of 80 over the divisor, which in this case is x minus 3. And there would be our final answer. Okay. All right. Let's get a little bit even crazier. This one's looking good. 6r to the 4th plus 9r to the 3rd plus 2r squared minus 8r plus 7. So first, do we have any gaps? I've got a 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Nope, I don't have any gaps. Okay, but notice here, I have a 2, I am missing a gap, and I have a 0. So in my divisor, I'm missing a gap. So let's put our space filler in there. So on the outside, I'm going to put 3r squared plus 0r minus 2. Underneath, 6r to the 4th plus 2r squared. Nope, I'm missing the 9. 9r to the 3rd plus 2r squared minus 8r plus 7. Squeeze that in there. Okay, so same process. Focus just here and just here. What do I need to multiply 3r squared by to get to 6r to the 4th? I'm going to multiply by 2r squared. Multiply through, right product here. So 6r to the 4th. Multiply through, put product here. 0r to the 3rd. Multiply through, put product here. Negative 4r squared. Remember, this is subtraction. Change all your signs. So I'm left with 9r to the 3rd plus 6r squared. Bring down the next, so bring down minus 8r. Now focus right here. I have a 9r to the 3rd, 3r squared. What do I need to multiply by? I need a 3r. Okay, so 3r times 3r squared, write the product here. 9r to the 3rd. 3r times 0, write the product here. So 0, r squareds. 3r times negative 2, write the product here. So negative 6r. Subtracting, change your signs. Leaves you with 6r squared minus 2r. Bring down the 7. Okay, one more to go. So now what do I need to multiply? Ooh, this is going to be a good one. 3r squared by to get to 6. So what do we have to multiply 3 by to get to 6? 2. That's it, right? Because I already have the r's. So multiply, write my product. 6r squared. Next one's going to get me 0r. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. Write that underneath the 7. Change your signs. Leaves you with negative 2r plus 11. Nothing else to bring down. I can't now take my 3r squared and multiply it to get to the negative 2r, right? Because I've gone below the degree of the divisor. So I'm done, and this is your remainder. So if you guys remember, how do we write our remainders? So write the original, so 2r squared plus 3r plus 2 plus, what's my remainder? Negative 2r plus 11 all over the divisor, which was 3r squared minus 2. And just write the original abbreviated version. You don't need to put that 0r in there of your divisor. Okay. Long division. All right, let's continue. 2p to the 3rd plus 5p squared plus p minus 2, or dividing by 2p plus 2. Okay, so 2p plus 2 on the outside, no gaps there. I have a 1 and then a 0 degree. I have no gaps for 2p to the 3rd because there's 3, here's the 2, here's the 1, and then the 0 is our constant. Okay, so what do I need to multiply 2p by to get to 2p to the 3rd? I need p squareds. So now I have 2p to the 3rd plus 2p squared. Subtract, subtract, which gets us 3p squared. Bring down your next p. What do I now need to multiply 2p by to get to 3p squared? Well, I know I need a p, right? So this is where it's going to get a little funky because we have to have fractions. 2 times, it's a little sidebar here, 2 times what number gets you 3? Solve for x. That some number is 3/2, right? Don't I have to take 3/2 to multiply it by 2 to get to 3? So I'm going to multiply by 3/2 p. which gets us into the fraction world, which is okay because you have a calculator that does fractions for you. So 3/2 p times 2p gets me 3p squared. 3/2 times 2 is 3p. Okay, so that's not too shabby right there. Subtracting, oops, undo. Subtracting gets me -2p. Bring down my -2. Okay, so now that's not so ugly. Now that I got rid of that fraction, now I just need to multiply everything by -1. So now that gets me -2p minus 2. Change, gets us a remainder of 0. So p squared plus 3/2 p minus 1 would be your quotient. All right, guys, that concludes your notes. So hopefully that went okay. If not, practice makes perfect. All right, move on to your next assignment, please.